the worst thing a man can do to a woman. When a woman blows up in your face, it's usually not what you think it is. Normally, men immediately turn into physical or tangible problem solving, ignoring the deeper underlying emotional reality of that blow up. A wife comes home, she sees that the trash is not taken out. She starts to become angry and even yells at her husband. And the husband thinks, okay, I just need to take out the trash and then it's gonna resolve this issue, right? Wrong, man. What we as men need to understand is how a woman feels and address that core feeling. The trash triggered this core feeling. It's just a symptom, but not the root cause. Now, until we as men, we acknowledge this underlying reality, emotional reality or experience of a woman, nothing else that we will do will fix this rupture in the relationship. Nothing. Because our solutions will not be aligned with this emotional reality. And this is where often an inner wounded boy might get triggered for men. It's like the sentiment of, I try to do all of these things for her, I do this and that, and yet she still doesn't recognize my efforts, she still doesn't appreciate me for what I'm doing for her. And then what man eventually does is he retreats. He becomes defensive, closed off, resentful. On the other side, once we men get the emotional reality that a woman is going through in a specific situation and what was triggered in that situation, the woman feels acknowledged, she feels cared for, understood, seen, and not ignored. This forgotten trash or any other thing that we men often perceive as insignificant, what it may trigger is all kinds of different feelings inside of a woman. Very different, and many options there. Starting as, oh, I'm not considered, I'm not important, he doesn't care about the environment, my well-being. Oh my gosh, if he cannot handle this minor task, then I cannot feel safe with him tackling the bigger challenges. I don't have influence. I don't have say. All kinds of things. The mistake that men often make is that when a woman gets emotional or even hyper emotional, what men do is they often dismiss it as, oh, she's unstable. Oh, she has period now. Oh, I just need to let it pass, or this is not important, or this is on her, this is not on me. Now, from our male perspective, a lot of things that women see as concerns, in our perspective, those are not big deal. Like truly, we think it's nothing. But we forget that women perceive reality differently. They feel much more vulnerable in this world than we do, for various reasons. And women also fall victim to the indoctrination of the narratives of women need to step up, everyone should be able to take care of themselves, and so on. Creating this isolated island, this narcissistic bubble, fragmented societal structure mentality. It's like everyone's for themselves. Individualism over community, unity. And we as a society, for a lot of us, we have adopted this mentality or belief that, women should be able to fend for themselves, which leaves them emotionally alone. And one of the core issues here is that a lot of men are not in a good relationship with their own emotions. They cannot handle their own emotions. So when women presents emotional storm, also handle that. It's like, no way. Or men don't even see these emotional storms as serious and just dismiss them. And when that happens, women feel ignored, not seen, and they lose trust and respect in men. And for a lot of us men, we have tendency to overlook women's concerns, seeing them as irrational, paranoid, illogical, while we forget in the process that instead of applying true genuine empathy and understanding, we project our own understanding and perception to other people, including women, assuming that other people will be able to see the world or situation in the same way as we do, expecting a common sense. And to be fair, a lot of times when women get emotional or hyper emotional, it might be expressed as personal attack to a man. But beneath this surface level attack, there is a deeper, desperate attempt to reach the man. This is a cry for help. Please see where I'm at. Unfortunately, men often lose it when the attack gets personal and not realize that it's deeper than that. So the women's cues, deeper nature, desperate attempt to reach out man emotionally, gets often overlooked as personal attack, misinterpreted. What we men need to understand and remember that the calls for help coming from a woman will not always be positive ones. If the positive ones are not responded by a man, then a woman will often be forced to escalate the situation, become more dramatic, and turn to the negative calls. Because for a woman, it's much worse to be ignored than answered, even if it's a negative call. When a man doesn't respond to a woman's calls, it tells her that, oh my God, I cannot feel safe with this man. He doesn't respond. He doesn't care. He has no best interests for me. Now, a lot of times, it's not that a man doesn't care. It's rather, he just doesn't recognize these signals for help. He's unattuned. And he needs to learn this as fast as possible. Why is he unattuned? Because he experienced the same thing in his childhood, when his cries for help, support, need were not answered. His needs were not met. When a woman seeks attention, it's a bid for connection. In today's world, a lot of men are taught especially online by other men, online gurus, that if you reward her with attention, you're a simp. She will not respect you. What a lot of men misunderstand is that if we don't pay enough attention to her and she responds well to that, it means that it's a true love. But in reality, it's a desperation to seek out help so that the needs can be met. It's not true love, it's desperation. From a man's side, doing this is a coercion into submission. Why are men doing this? To protect their own wounds and keeping women at distance. So when she decides to leave, men are not as attached and as committed to her, so they don't get hurt that much, because there is not enough emotional connection and intimacy between the two. When we men ignore women's call for attention, we kill the connection, or we kill attempt for reconnection, and that leaves women re-traumatized, experiencing and reliving abandonment all over again. We as human beings will live in a world of emotional cripples, because most people keep projecting their own unresolved wounds and traumas into relationship with other people. And what it does is it not only triggers and hurts other people, but it re-traumatizes them. And so we're engaged into this vicious cycle of re-traumatizing each other over and over and over again. So we as human beings, not just men, also women, we need to start pay attention to our emotional plane, because emotions are our drivers for our decision making, whether we realize or not. What we often deem as logical decision is always rooted in a feeling that we think that if we take this decision will lead us to a certain feeling state. So feeling, emotion is always a driver. Thank you for watching and listening, and know that you are loved and you matter.